There is a big game on the Missouri Valley Conference women's basketball schedule this Friday as the MVC Women's Basketball Game of the Week on ESPN3 features two teams with identical 13-1 records as Wichita State will take on Drake and Charles Koch Arena. Here to talk about that big matchup, we welcome in our Missouri Valley Conference women's basketball national analyst here on Measure Valley Hoops, Debbie Antonelli. Debbie, how's it going this week?
Double D, it's going great. And I know a lot of people are excited about Wichita State and game day and ESPN coming there over the weekend, but there is a huge game on campus on Friday night that people need to pay attention to. We have two of the hottest teams in the country. Wichita State has won 16 of the last 17, and Drake has won 13 of the last 14. So you've got two hot teams that are both sitting and tied for first place. This game could go a long way in determining who wins the conference title.
Absolutely. Wichita State's making some efforts to get students to that game as well on Friday night. They're wanting to get a big crowd there. Obviously, a lot riding on the line. This could be the one for the women setting a conference regular season title. But we look at the Bulldogs, look at the Shockers, some premier players on the floor for these two teams that can really make a difference when these two teams take the floor.
Well, Derek, first of all, you got to start with Lindsay Wendell. Lizzie has been terrific for Drake. She's fourth in the nation in scoring, 23 points a game. Just a sophomore, she has been outstanding. 43 points twice in games this season, and she shoots 50% from the floor. Caitlin Engel, number 8 in the nation in assists. So you got two players for Drake that are in the top 10 in two offensive categories that are really important. On the other side, for Wichita State, Alex Harden is in the top 10 in every individual category in the Valley with the exception of three-point makes and three-point percentage. There's no other player that's like that has the versatility that she brings to the floor. She's the preseason pick for Player of the Year. I think between Alex Harden and Lizzie Wendell, this game will go a long way in deciding who becomes Player of the Year, and I got to throw Diana Pierre in the mix there with Southern Illinois as well. Jamila Bonner, terrific defender, good at the point of their pressure. Very good on the defensive end. She's a nice backcourt complement to Alex Harden, who can play every position on the court for Jody Adams. So this is going to be a game with premier players. Yeah,
now you just mentioned Jody Adams. Obviously, the coaches put the players in position to be successful. Jody Adams, Wichita State, Jenny Baranczyk, Drake. How these coaches match up in this big game?
Well, this is going to be really fun to watch. We have two really bright young coaches in our game. Jody Adams, 4 consecutive 20-win seasons, back-to-back Missouri Valley champions, have been to back-to-back tournaments, and they're playing at home in a situation where they have a revenge game. So they've got a veteran team. They've got a home court advantage. On the other side, Jenny Baranczyk has done a fantastic job with her team. When you look at what they did going 0-3, losing the Valley Player of the Year, and being in a position right now to challenge for the Missouri Valley title, I think she's done a fantastic job as well. Wichita State undefeated at home. Drake has a good road record. It should be really interesting to watch these two coaches put the puzzle together.
Yeah. I know you like to talk about offense, but someone in this game is going to play some defense too. Both teams are probably going to play defense, but we know about Drake. We talked to Jenny Baranczyk a couple weeks ago. We know how dynamic of a scorer Lizzie Wendell is. Offense and defense, how these two teams match up?
Well, you've got the top scoring team in the league in Drake, and you've got the best scoring defensive team in the league in Wichita State. It has less than 50 points a game. When these two teams met the first time, the score was 64-61. Okay, since that time, in that 13 of the 14 games that Drake has won, the 13 games that they won, Double D, they've won by an average of 80 points. Only one team has held them below 70 all season in the Valley, and that was Wichita State. On the other side, Wichita State combines to force 20 turnovers a game, 10 of which they steal on the average. That's live ball turnovers with their team speed. That gives them a chance to be disruptive and to dictate with their defense, and if they can do that, it's offense versus defense. I think both these teams play to who they are, and let's see which style wins out.
Yeah. All right, next. Winning strategies. What might these two teams do to sort of put their teams in position to get the win in this game?
Drake hit 12 threes in the last game, Double D. That's 36 of their 64 points. That's 56% of their offense. Okay, number one, Drake has to make sure they get out in transition and try to score with that up-tempo offense. Wichita State has got to come with a short closeout to the three-point line. They got to find shooters in transition, and they got to close out short, high hands, make Drake put it on the floor. They can't let him spot up behind the three-point line and make that many threes. Caitlin Ingle had 7 turnovers in the game against Wichita State. They had 26 total turnovers. They survived those 26 turnovers by making threes. They're going to have to take better care of the basketball. And Ingle, only the 3rd time this season where she's had 7 turnovers in a game. So I expect her to take better care of the ball and get them in their sets. And I think Drake has to make the extra pass. Because of the way Wichita State plays defense, up the line, overplaying, very aggressive, you better have your pressure relievers in, you better have your backdoor plays in, and you better make sure that you're on the glass. But the extra pass could get Wichita State over-rotating and could give them a chance to get some offensive boards as well. Again, it's offense versus defense, but the winning keys are going to be really important for Drake to play their game, run in transition, make the extra pass. Wichita State has to be dictating and has to determine with their defense, and they have to make sure they come with a short closeout.
All right, and finally, the X factor. What might be someone that we might not expect to make a difference in this game?
Well, I think one of the key things that I would like to track in this game is situational offense. I think when you get to a game that's a championship caliber game like this, you have to make sure that you score points off of situations, meaning you score points off timeouts, off dead ball situations, off out of bounds plays. You have to not be 80% on your out of bounds plays. You got to actually score 5 or 6 more points per possession or per out of bounds play than your opponent. So I think that will be really important to keep track of that, to see which coach gets their team to execute when you come off timeouts. So from an X factor, it's not necessarily a player that I'm looking at. I'm looking more at the situations of the game and how each team executes those situations at this high caliber of a competitive environment.
All right, it's a big one. These two teams met the finals of the tournament last year in St. Charles. Meeting again this time, both 13-1. Drake won the first matchup in Des Moines earlier this season. It's the rubber match in Wichita. Valley Game of the Week on ESPN3, 7 o'clock on Friday night. Debbie, thanks so much for your insight and analysis on this game. Measure Valley Hoops is always fun. It's always fun to talk to you every week.
Thanks, D. Offense versus defense. I think you got a good idea which side of the ball I like better. You're right. We've worked well together through the last couple of months and making sure we got our philosophies right.